Okay, well, as was prefaced by the great introduction done by my lovely girlfriend, I was gonna make a couple of whisper videos for her and also for you all. Like she said, we haven't really seen a lot of poetry whisper videos, and it's something I'm really into. And we've just been thinking that poetry is really relaxing and it's a really nice thing to listen to in general, but especially if you are feeling anxious. So, as she mentioned in the introductory video, I am a Spanish major and I am really into Spanish poetry, but I thought that I would start maybe a possible series of videos with some of my favorite American poets, and most of these are love poems by American poets from the 20th and 21st centuries. So I'm going to read a couple of different poems, and these are in English. But I plan to do Spanish videos in the future. Sort of want to test out what this is going to sound like and see what people's responses are. And then I think we'll just go from there. So this is the first poem. Every Single Day by John Strowley. Suppose I said the word springtime and I wrote the words King Salmon on a piece of paper and mailed this is the last one. I know this is a morose note to end on, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. This is Nevermind.